I mean, as you now describe the role of the artist as kind of disappearing in his work, also means to give these other people, the mentors and the visitors or the participants, a lot more influence. And this, it seems, has a lot to do with trust, doesn't it?
Yes. Trust is the main element in my artwork, especially between strangers, right?
Yeah.
We do have trust between our family, hopefully, our family and our friends, and that kind of creates a community. To have trust between strangers is something I think is intuitive, but on the other hand, the society teaches us, especially now, not to do that.
Right.
So with this show here in Villa Stuck, especially with the current pandemic situation, how does the trust become an element, an important element in this work? This is a big question. And I always say, my work depends on the kindness of strangers, meaning hopefully when you walk into these galleries, you trust not only yourself, but you trust the people in here that is going to be a convivial experience that you all celebrate to be who you are, and that we are healthy enough to be here to experience these work, which are quite rare at this moment, that usually when you go to museum, you cannot touch, you cannot talk to people, you cannot do X, Y, and Z. But here, hopefully when you go into the classical gallery, a singer might come up to you, okay, and that's where the trust begins, right?
Right.
You see someone come up to you and think, what does that person need? Okay, so trust your instinct. And the singer might ask, may I give you a gift of song? It'll be in German, hopefully. And then you think, okay, maybe I would trust this person to give me this gift of song. In a pre-pandemic time, that is an easier invitation. Now it's very difficult because, as you know, we need to wear a mask, right? So this singing gesture, you are vulnerable, putting yourself out, right? Don't worry, we do have a plexiglass in front of singers, and we have a distance, so that is built in by the government, by the artists, by the museum, to create a bubble of trust in this very special moment, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so imagining you sit in the chair, and in a distance, behind the plexiglass, the singer starts singing a Schubert Lied for you. And hopefully all those things will not physical, but it will just go away, because it's like that bubble protects you so you don't have to worry about the virus. But then this pure gesture of gift coming from this powerful voice. And hopefully that could transmit and transform who you are at that moment. And I've seen quite a few times, even when we were doing the rehearsals, the sitters or the visitor was so moved, they started crying. That will be an experience that hopefully transforms not only the singers, but also the visitor, because of this trust that we have for each other as human beings.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, this pandemic situation, I would agree. I also experience as a situation for trust. I mean, I also had to think of, Locke has one sentence saying, we live upon trust. Not only on water and bread and so on. And I think this captures this very good. I mean, this importance of trust, and this also invisibility of trust a lot of times in our lives. And now the pandemic somehow raised it to our attention.
Yeah, it's like there's no way you can escape it.
Yeah.
It's right there.
Yeah.
And that's how you're going to function in the society. Even going to a supermarket, you need to trust the people who are there, who are wearing masks, who are cleaning all the things, who are bringing products to you there, you need to trust them.
Yeah.
And if there's no trust, it will not function.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the other interesting aspect of what you just said is also this, again, the role of the artist. I mean, even without the pandemic, I mean, to really facilitate, to enable these experiences that you just talked about in the Sonic Blossom, so this receiving the gift of a song, that the artist has the role of creating a room for trust.
Exactly, exactly. And hopefully, this room of trust or this gallery of trust is something that you feel you are invited, and we are all courageous enough to open this gate. And I know there are going to be people feel uncomfortable in a pandemic situation like this with this type of work, and that's perfectly fine because we all have our own limit. And hopefully it's something, if you feel uncomfortable, that's perfectly good. Pay attention to that, and you could do whatever you need to do. Yeah, leave the museum, come back later, think about it. It's really up to you. So what I'm saying is that at the end of the day, my work is not about me telling you what to do. Yeah. It's more about inviting you to have a conversation and see what you can do. Yes.
Yeah. I was just to ask you, how do you create trust? I think you already gave a partial answer, at least, saying that create options, always leave a lot of options to people.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Not to force them into situations.
Exactly. Not to force is the main thing, because I truly believe if the trust is created in such a way that intuitively we see the sincerity and poetry in it, then there's no need of force or even violence to say, hey, I've created this, you come in. That's never going to work. And there's absolutely no trace of trust in that kind of conversation. So, yeah, hopefully these 15 projects create a bubble of trust. And it's a very small and delicate bubble, and hopefully you can come and explore. Yeah.
But I think an interesting example is our Peaceable Kingdom again. Because there you invited different artists, and you have no idea what they're going to produce. And I mean, I look at some of the paintings, and I think, oh, this does not fit Lee Mingwei's
I felt
art.
the same way too when I saw. I won't say which one. Yes.
Yeah, but this means, I mean, creating trust is also always relinquishing control.
Your control, exactly. Or
Pass over
your
control to
own.
others.
Yes, completely. Paulus, I feel exactly what you felt, and there were probably 3 paintings that came in. First I was thinking, did they actually know or understand the word? But then quickly I realized, hey, I'm asking them to show us their idea of peace, and this is their idea of course they understood the work. Who am I to say that's not the right idea? Because I have put out this invitation and I trust them, and I should really follow through that and not just say, So for the Peaceable Kingdom, I've, artists from Afghanistan, artists from Hong Kong, all very different background. What I see in this, the sort of the connection that links all the paintings is that they really have their own understanding of what peace is, even by looking at Edward Hicks, what he did, because all the artists received a facsimile of what Edward Hicks did and the explanation of the work. So that becomes quite a challenge, because if they don't see where this idea came from, of peace, of Edward Hicks, then they could just paint their own idea. It became much more challenging for them when they see someone else's idea of peace 150 years ago or more, and then think about who they are, you know, when they live in Afghanistan, when they live in Jakarta, Yogyakarta, in Taipei, what does it mean to be peace, the world of peace? So you see there are about 34, 36 iteration of what peace could be. What fascinates me is that, for example, the icon or the image of penguin appears in two different groups of artists who are not related to each other. Fascinating. And then there is an image of a creature that is between lizard and some marsupials that also appear in two completely different sets of artists who live very far apart. So that makes me sometimes, I think, is there an undercurrent of images, an idea of what peace is among us as human beings that is more like a dream, images and these sort of source or fountain of images of idea of what peace is, although we're physically in a very different space and time. But could there be a well of these images? You know, I don't know. So to see these penguins appear in Hong Kong, appear in Korea, it's like, wow, that is quite fascinating.
Right.